Dawn broke over the hermitage of Bharadwaja, where Rama, Sita, and Lakshman had passed a peaceful night. As the first light touched the thatched huts, the three rose and went to the great sage, bowing low before him. With folded hands, they thanked him for his shelter and kindness, and asked his leave to journey onward toward the Chitrakuta hill. The Maharishi looked upon the three as though they were his own children. He blessed them from a full heart and, with patient care, described the forest road that would lead them to Chitrakuta, which streams to follow, which groves to pass, where the safe crossings lay. Then he sent them forth, and they carried his goodwill like a lamp into the wilderness. Following the sage's instructions to the letter, Rama, Sita, and Lakshman set out beneath the tall trees. Lakshman went watchfully ahead, parting the creepers and marking each landmark the Muni had named. Birdsong greeted them, and the morning forest opened its green depths before the exiles as they walked steadily on toward the distant hill. Before long, the forest thinned, and the travelers came upon the river, Kalindi, wide and gleaming under the sun. Its clear water slid past reedy banks, too deep and swift to wade. Rama studied the far shore, where their path continued, and knew they must find some way to carry Sita safely across the flowing stream. The two brothers set to work at once. With Lakshman's quick hands and Rama's steady strength, they gathered fallen logs and stout bamboo, binding them fast with tough forest creepers into a broad, sturdy raft. Piece by piece, the little craft took shape at the water's edge, strong enough to bear all three across the Kalindi's current. Ever mindful of Sita's comfort, Lakshman wove a soft little seat upon the raft from slender twigs and fresh green leaves, that she might sit dry and at ease. Gently he helped her aboard, and Sita settled upon the leafy cushion, smiling at his tender care, while the brothers took up poles to push off from the bank. The raft slipped out onto the shining Kalindi. Rama and Lakshman drove it forward with strong, even strokes, guiding it through the gentle current, while Sita sat serene between them. Water lapped at the bound logs, dragonflies skimmed the surface, and the forested banks drifted slowly by. Steadily, safely, the little craft bore the three exiles toward the farther shore. Midway across, Sita bowed her head to the goddess of the river. Softly she prayed that her lord Rama might fulfill his long vow of exile unharmed, and that the three of them might one day return in safety to their home. The river murmured on beneath the raft, as though it had heard and blessed her gentle plea. They stepped ashore on the farther bank and left the raft among the reeds. Onward the path led them, over several smaller brooks that laced the woodland, each crossed with care. Rama kept close watch over Sita at every step, and the three pressed deeper into the forest, drawing nearer to the landmarks the sage had promised. At last, they reached the great banyan tree that Bharadwaja had described, a giant among trees, its vast canopy spreading wide, and its many roots hanging like pillars to the earth. In its cool green shade, the travelers paused to rest, glad to have found the very landmark the sage had set to guide their weary steps. Beneath the sacred banyan, Sita folded her hands once more and prayed to the ancient tree that her husband might complete his vow in safety, and that she might live to look again upon the loving faces of the queens Kausalya and Sumitra. Rama watched her quiet devotion with tender eyes, moved by the steadfast hope in her heart. As they took up the road again, Rama ordered their march with a husband's care. Lakshman would walk in front to clear the way. Sita would follow in his footsteps, and Rama himself would guard the rear. Whatever flower or fruit She wishes for as we go, he told his brother. Gather it for her and keep her spirits bright. As they walked, Sita's eyes shone with delight. She asked the name of every flowering tree and trailing creeper, marveling at the many wonders of the forest, the blossoms, the butterflies, the sunlit glades. Rama and Lakshman answered each question fondly, and her innocent joy turned the hard road into a garden of discovery for them all. Through those days, the brothers lived by the forest's gifts and by the hunt, as warriors have always done. With bow in hand, Rama took only what they needed and no more, sharing the plain fare with Sita and Lakshman. Sparingly and with reverence they ate, keeping their bodies strong for the long years of exile that lay ahead. When evening fell, they made their camp upon a quiet riverbank. The brothers spread soft grass for a bed, and the three Saturday together as the sky turned to embers and the first stars pricked the dusk. The forest hushed around them, and weary but content, the exiles rested beside the whispering water through the night. At first light, Rama gently woke his brother, who slept on, wearied by the journey. Listen, Lakshman, he said with a smile. The birds are singing there. Welcome to the morning sun. It is time for us to rise and go. Lakshman stirred, a little abashed, and rose quickly to ready himself and Sita for the day's march. They bathed in the cool stream and offered their morning prayers, then took up the road once more. It was high summer, and the forest was a blaze of color. Trees and shrubs crowded with blossoms of every hue, and branches bowed low beneath the weight of ripening fruit. The exiles walked on through a world in full and fragrant bloom. Rama's heart lifted at the beauty around them, and he pointed it out to Sita as they walked. See the beehives hanging heavy in the boughs, and the ground carpeted with fallen flowers. Hear how the birds call and answer, living in such joy. How sweet life would be, he said softly, if we could always dwell among sights and sounds like these. Then, far ahead through a break in the trees, the Chitrakuta hill rose green and beautiful against the sky. Their hearts leapt with gladness, and they quickened their steps toward it. How lovely this country is, Rama exclaimed, gazing at the wooded slopes and shining crags of the hill that would become their long-sought home. Standing before the hill, Rama praised all he saw. The forest here is rich with sweet roots and fruits, and the water runs clear and cool. Holy rishis dwell in their ashrams among these woods. Surely, in such blessed and peaceful company, we may pass our years of exile happily. Sita and Lakshman looked on the fair place and were glad. They resolved to raise a hermitage of their own upon that happy spot. Lakshman, ever skillful with his hands, chose the ground and set eagerly to work. He felled young trees, gathered bamboo and reeds and clay, and with a craftsman's care, began to shape a home for them beside the beautiful hill. Single-handed, Lakshman raised a strong and snug little hut. He wove stout walls of bamboo and packed them with clay, thatched the roof against sun and rain, and fashioned neat doors and windows from jungle wood. Sturdy and weatherproof, it stood at last, a comfortable dwelling shaped wholly by the love and labor of one devoted brother. When the little house was finished, Rama was overcome. He drew Lakshman into his arms and with tears of love in his eyes, held him close. When and how did you ever learn to do all this? He asked in wonder, marveling at the devoted brother who had built them a home out of nothing but a wilderness, his voice thick with feeling. Rama spoke the praise that welled up in him. The flower soft feet of Mithila's princess have walked this hard forest floor. If her feet have wrought a wonder, your hands have wrought a miracle of building. Today, he said, I have seen the hidden blessing that even misfortune brings. So, beside the lovely Chitrakuta hill, on the bank of the Malyavati river, the three young ones made their home. Free from every care, they kept their daily worship and lived in perfect contentment. They forgot they were exiles at all, passing golden days together, as happily as Indra dwelling in heaven amid the gods. For a while, then all was peace at Chitrakuta, and joy filled the little cottage by the hill. Yet this bright and untroubled happiness was but a gentle dawn before a gathering storm, a golden calm that would one day make the sorrows still to come seem all the darker by its remembered light.